We get into your first market class, your 75 to 150 pounders. I think the logical place for me to start is entry number 37116, and I think a hog there that's got high cutout value just in terms of an added value of carcass, in terms of an added spread and dimension perspective there. A bigger bodied, bigger outlying hog that's certainly full from the top edge of his loin on down into his flank and chock full of power, whether it be from his stifle muscle forward or from his blade on back. I think a very productive looking hog that's yet still comfortable and correct in his angles and looks like he should have no trouble getting up and going to the feeder and completing the feeding cycle each day. I think from then on, sticking with the theme of added comfort, I like entry number 35742P to go ahead and be second in this particular class. And I'll be honest, a hog that's just a shot leaner in terms of his overall makeup. I don't rate him to be, just as expansive in terms of his belly cut or just quite there in the center portion of his body when we compare him back against that class winner. But, I thought that added comfort will allow him to go ahead and continue to flesh up and do things in a comfortable manner and one that looks like he should gain and take off and probably just gives up a bit of maturity versus what that class winner has. But good lean carcass on him to this point of his life. It looks like he should be a very nice market hog there towards the end of things. And we round out with entry number 41202P and a hog here that I think probably does have an advantage just in terms of a high dollar retail cuts versus maybe what we find in that second place hog. I think he's got the added advantage in just some bulk and dimension at this point. But like we talked there, I think when we begin to study him from a feet and legs perspective, he's the tighter hinging hog off either end of his skeleton. He's not quite as broad right there through his chest or at the ground up front. I've got to make him a little bit better there and allow him to just go ahead and lead with just a shot more power at the surface there. Congratulations on a nice first class. We get into your 151 plus pound market class here, and I think hogs obviously that are closer to their end point there in their harvest size, and I think things to take into consideration would be just their finishing quality and yet still placing emphasis on structural correctness and the ability to distribute mass evenly. And I think for me, the one that best fits all those molds is our entry number 34099MP, and I think a hog that's practical in terms of his body length. He's big and broad in terms of his center body cavity. Looks like he's chock full of product there from a market hog perspective, and yet he's still the broadest in his chest. He's still the squarest in terms of his hind leg and the most comfortable in terms of his movement. Looks like he's got a big upper hip and ham leg into him. Great set along his loin and down the center of his top. Opens into a big center cut there. Looks like a very nice type of hog to lead off with this market class with. Entry number 35738MP is going to go ahead and be second here in this class. And I think hogs that are patterned similar, I'm sure they're probably litter mates are related just based off their coloration and their general mold and features of stoutness and general look and build there. I didn't read this hog to be just, I guess, quite as balanced in terms of his top line. I read him to be just a little bit drier in terms of his belly line and his flank. I didn't read his cutout value down low to be just quite as high as what that eventual class winner was there. Ultimately, I didn't read him to be just in the same league in terms of width either. And when we begin to study him structurally, he wants to close in a bit more at his knee. He wants to face the inward when we step in behind him and study what direction his hocks want to face. I still think a good hog with a big upper skeleton should have a good high hanging value there for the end point there of a market hog. So a very nice pig there to go second in this class. Entry number 40621 is going to go ahead and be third here, and a little bit longer package here, and certainly nothing wrong with that. I think some value added in terms of loin and just more product. It comes with a little bit bigger frame there, and I think that's certainly good. I commend the young lady there driving him of doing him a good job on keeping him yet still refined in terms of his condition, but adequate in terms of his flesh and muscle for this stage of the game. I didn't read his comfort level to be as good. I didn't read him to be as powerful out of the back of his hip is what we found in the two above him, or just as dense at the ground when we study his lower feature there. But I think still a nice type of market hog, should finish very respectably there. We round out with one that maybe just pushes the envelope a bit too much in 32979 MP. I would read that one to be just a bit over conditioned. Maybe I think when we cut into that one, a lot of brown fat we're going to have to trim off there, not necessarily the good kind. And I need to peel him back in terms of his jowl cut out. I need to maybe just suck him up just a little bit in terms of his flank and his belly line there. But, I think there's some capacity for product there. I think he's a big, broad type of hog when you study him down his top line and through his back and from lowing edge to lowing edge there. I think there's some good within him. I'd like to see him personally just a bit more refined, I guess, in terms of the flesh he's got at this stage. Very nice class of market hogs. Congratulations. We get into your champion market hog selection here, and I think two very good class representatives, and I think for where we need to be at in terms of not only thinking about structure and what we need to find, I guess, in a show setting, but still thinking real world-wise. These are going to be animals that go into the food chain. We need them to make the most bang for their buck in terms of their product, in terms of their growth and their productivity for the farmer. For me, I guess the one that needs to win and win rather handily will be our heat number 2 winner. That's entry number 34099 MP, and I think one that's just overwhelmingly good for a market hog setting, whether it be structurally when we study his width and his comfort off either end of his skeleton, or when we think of a real world setting. I think a big cutout value there, great in terms of his flank line and his belly cuts there, big and broad in terms of his chops, in terms of his loin and the potential there to get some power up high in product there. Very good pig that puts a lot of good together, no matter what world you're looking into there. A good dual purpose type of hog there. For second place, I like our winner out of class number 1. That's entry number 37116, and I think that one probably closest fits our champion there, just in terms of mirroring a look of quality from a balance perspective there. Another bigger framed outlined hog there that's got room to house all the power and product we need there. I didn't read him, I guess, probably just quite as neat or refined there through his jowl, and when we study him in the movement pattern, I didn't read him to be just quite as effortless in terms of his step off either end, but I think certainly some power, certainly some product there that's awfully good, and it should be a nice hog there when he reaches his finishing weight. For our third overall in this division, I like entry number 35738 MP, and like we talked in that initial heat, I thought one that mirrors a lot of the same attributes there as what that champion does. I didn't read him to do it with the same degree of balance or comfort or width when we begin to study him at the ground, but I still think a very good market pig. Congratulations to your market exhibitors.